Hey coaches, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the bubble screen. We started talking about that in my last video. Got into some good teaching points and coaching points for that. We're going to continue talking about how the bubble screen affects defenses into the perimeter, especially if we're running it out of a trips formation. Perfect play football system, the greatest, most cutting edge football system being used at any level of football today. Here's a list of ways you can keep in contact with me with my Perfect Play Football at Gmail account. YouTube, of course. We have Twitter, Facebook page, group page. Score fast, score often, never apologize. That's not your job. Don't stop your own offense. Make those defensive guys work a little bit. And for heaven's sakes, magnify those blessings. Got to magnify those blessings each and every day. Let's remember to give me a thumbs up on the video, make comments down below, and yes, bang that bell for those notifications. So let's get into today's topic. Here's let's say the ball's on the left hash. We have a trips formation. We're going to run our bubble screen to the field with A running the bubble, Z and Y are going to cross block. We've talked about that in the previous videos. In the box, let's say we have a run to the left. It can be a gap scheme, a zone scheme, doesn't really matter. And it doesn't matter what the X is doing right now in our example. What we're going to do is create basically a box that the defense cannot defend. So right now we're looking at gap responsibility. We're going to talk about rotation of getting the defenders getting into their gap. So let's say that the shade here has A gap, Mike has B gap, the 5 technique has C gap. We have created with our formation to the field, we have A, B, C, D, E, and F gap. All right, so D, E, and F are very important. How will the defense get defenders into those gaps? Well, they're going to try to get the corner, usually has outside contain. He's going to be an F. They're going to try to get the Sam into E. He's going to try to get over the top or rip underneath the Z's block, this block is very important for that reason, to try to keep the Sam out of his gap. If Sam gets into his gap, let's say defenders get to their proper gap, so we have the corner in F, Sam in E. Well, who is over here in D gap? What are they going to do? They can drop the Sam down here very aggressively in D gap. We have an answer for that we'll get into in future videos. Most of the time, the free safety will be what they call the secure technique. Okay, very important. The secure technique. In other words, he keeps the ball in front of him. He makes sure it's a throw or a run and then attacks. So in this case, the ball is thrown, then he will come down late. And let's say everything is done perfectly by the defense. They don't miss a tackle. They tackle us for maybe an 8-yard gain. I'll take an 8-yard pickup every time. Very good. I would prefer a touchdown, but 8 yards is good. So we're going to keep doing that until he gets super aggressive, and then we'll attack him in different ways at that point. But right now we're talking about the gaps. So corner in F, Sam hops over and gets in E. Who's in D? Most defenses will try to get the Mike into the D gap. We've got ways we can attack that as well. We'll get into later. How they're going to do that, they can plus him or moving him out of the box towards that D gap. Not too far. He still has run responsibility or gap responsibility in the box as well as into the screen play. So now the Mike is in a bind. He's in a bind to get to the D gap for the screen. He's also in a bind if the quarterback pulls the ball on the backside of this run. If the 5 technique takes the running back, quarterback pulls the ball and goes on the edge, the Mike is responsible for that D gap. Okay, so he's got to get in here for the quarterback, but he also has to get out here for the screen. Kind of tough to do. I've seen Division I linebackers that we have played, and we haven't had, we weren't very good, but we played teams that were good with D1 talent at the Mike linebacker spot, and they couldn't get out here in time to make the play. I've seen corners jump inside gap. They jump instead of F, they jump into E. Then the A catches the ball and goes up the sideline. big play, big chunk play. Okay, so the defenders must be responsible. They must be disciplined to get and take their gap and cancel that gap out in the box for runs, as well as on the perimeter for these screens. That's the point I want to get across to you today. We, as an offense, have created gaps on the perimeter as well as in the box. And we have created these gaps, and defenders have to get to these gaps, rotate post snap to these gaps, cancel the gaps out. We have created a box offensively that the defense cannot defend this entire box. They're in a bind. They can't get to the D gap for the screen as well as cover the D gap on the run with the quarterback. Or if they do that really well, then there may be a gap short somewhere over here to the internally in the box or somewhere else. All right. We'll talk about attacking defenses and if those kind of things happen in future videos. But today's point is understand that we've created this box the defense can't defend. The defenders have to rotate to their gaps. They're a man short to the trips the way we run our bubble screen. This is why I like to cross block instead of just stalk blocking, because it's easier to stalk block, easier for the Sam to spill over and get into his proper gap. Makes it a little bit tougher on us to run the screen. That concludes today's video. Once again, I want to make sure you understand that we create these gaps on the perimeter, force defenders to run to their gaps post-snap, taking advantage of how they pursue into their gaps, whether it's in the box or out on the perimeter. Take advantage of what the defense does. Thanks for watching the video. Give me a thumbs up. Make comments down below. Bang that bell. Bang that bell for those notifications. Here's once again ways that you can stay in touch with me through Facebook, email accounts, continue watching my videos on YouTube, writings on Substack, and most importantly, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game of football and magnify those blessings. We're a part of the greatest game ever created. Enjoy your blessings each and every day. Bang that bell.